Good evening and welcome to your match reaction from NUFC 360, reacting to our 2-0 defeat at home to Aston Villa, and it's my dubious pleasure to have to give you my take on today's performance, which I thought overall was very poor and very predictable. Unfortunately, I feel like in attack we are very easy to play against. Everything's all in front of you, so easy to defend against. We play from side to side, and we seem to lack complete and utter any sense of cutting edge. So at the moment, there's a lot to be improved. Made a few notes as we're going through the game. I thought that it was very even to begin with, and Tonali obviously had his first minute chance, but I feel like really he'd struggled to name another clear chance. I suppose Emi Martinez made another decent save from Miley from a header later on in the game, but other than that, I feel like we, particularly in the second half, created very, very little in terms of chances. I thought their goal completely and utterly sapped what little confidence we had, and we just basically they stood off and allowed us to have quite a lot of possession, and we did very little with it. I thought we stood off for the goal that they had. Botman seems like he left their player Buendia loads of space to shoot from. Stood off him, great shot, and it's the sort of shot I wish we would do a little bit more of. It's like we just seem to have a rule where a winger or a fullback has to touch the ball before anybody's allowed to shoot or something. But that's exactly the kind of situation where we would have played it off, worked it back into the middle, worked it back over the other side. Sometimes in football, you've got to buy a ticket to win the raffle, and we certainly aren't doing much of that. There was even a time in the first half where we had 3 or 4 midfielders on the edge of the box, and we played the ball out wide to Lewis Hall, who had 3 men on him, just to get the ball out wide rather than take a shot. So it was really, really frustrating. I thought at half time the changes were needed, and we didn't make them until our predictable slot of 60 to 65 minutes. Second half, we had a little bit more possession, I suppose, but we did very little with it, and Villa did what a lot of teams seem to be doing quite successfully against us and organised themselves in a really solid low block, and that seems to completely and utterly nullify us. I thought from minutes 45 to 80 we had plenty of possession but seemed to not create a single quality chance, and then they just upped it towards the end of the game and scored again. The changes, substitutions, were like for like once again, and I feel like that was particularly unnecessary, particularly when Joe Linton went off and we haven't got Bruno. I thought it was a really good opportunity to try something different, and I would have liked to see Voltemade and Visser together. At the moment, it feels like when Visser's on the field, we don't have anybody able to link play, to drop off and to get sort of move the ball around in tight spaces. And when Voltemade is on the field, we don't have anybody on the last shoulder. So between the two of them, there's an obvious way that they might complement each other, but we don't seem to want to play them together, which is a real shame. And I thought, particularly, when we clearly need a goal and you clearly need some of the cutting edge, it would have been a great chance and a great opportunity to play them both together. I'm sort of particularly mystified by Voltemade at the moment, because in signing him, it clearly doesn't suit our current and long-standing style of play. So what was the plan? Is the plan that we're going to get him to change his style of play? Are we going to build a different game for him? Or are we going to adapt our style of play to help him? Because it needs to be one of the two, and at the moment I don't see any evidence of either of those two things. So something quite concerning there. One minor crumb of comfort, I thought Elanga got a nice welcome once again, and I think that will continue to do his confidence some good. And I feel like even his harshest critic would probably say he didn't put a foot wrong when he did come on, and I thought he looked quite willing to take a man on. It didn't work particularly successfully, but at least he's going to sort of live or die by his own record and his own strengths instead of turning back and rotating possession. So there we go, into Wednesday, off down to Paris on Tuesday. So I hope we turn in something of a performance, because if we play like we did tonight, I think we'll struggle to lay a glove on Paris Saint-Germain midweek, and we really need to. I suppose it's a bit of a free hit. You've got the playoffs, you might as well push to finish in that top 8, so maybe that lack of pressure, maybe their lack of familiarity with us, and maybe the fact that they probably won't play a low block might give us some chance of having a bit of a go, and we really need to. And I think it would be nice to see something a little bit different. You're not going to have Bruno. It doesn't look like you're going to have Joe Linton either. So maybe that chance I talked about of playing the Voltemada and Vissa together is there for Wednesday, as well. So there we go. Not the best of games, but we'll live to fight another day, and it's a big game midweek. Good night.